Hello, I'm Declan Harvey. On BBC Newsline this evening, these are the stories from across Northern Ireland. The Filipino community here says it's been overwhelmed by people's kindness after the death of a couple who were expecting a child.
There's a baby involved, so I think that's where the sorrow is really rooted. Things like this, when they happen, we know the local community got our backs.
A woman who claims she was sexually assaulted by her grammar school teacher describes it as being hunted like prey. Postal delays in the northwest. The council wants to meet with Royal Mail to get it sorted. With all the talk of government-imposed social media bans, we've been hearing what younger users think.
It does push a bunch of beauty standards, which is harmful to different groups of people.
It's a lot easier to bully someone through social media than in person, so a lot of kids are getting bullied.
Here in Newry, there's a traitor, and it seems everybody loves her and everybody's talking about her.
She walks down the street, people are shouting out their car window saying, "Rachel, you traitor!"
She's doing fantastic, so she is. If she keeps her cool, I reckon she can take it.
In an exclusive interview, Charlie Smith of the New Orleans Saints on the pressures of being a kicker in the NFL and how he intends to stay there.
And it's a bit of a mixed bag this weekend. Still a bit on the chilly side, also a risk of showers, but some places will stay dry. I'll be back with the details.
It's Friday, the 16th of January. Thanks for joining us. This is the couple who were killed in a two-car crash near Crumlin in County Antrim at the weekend. Their names were Ralph and Kith Cinco. Their unborn baby, who was named Kate, also died. 6 other people were injured. Today, Ralph and Kith were remembered as a vibrant and dynamic pair, and the Filipino community here is said to be heartbroken. Catherine Morrison reports.
And a kiss with that smiling face.
A tribute to a much-loved couple and their unborn baby from thousands of miles away. Kith, Ralph and baby Kate died in a car crash in County Antrim on Sunday. Kith had been living in Northern Ireland for 4 or 5 years, Ralph for longer. Both worked in care homes. They were originally from the Philippines, from the Davao region. Aldrin Banyas is a friend of the couple.
The grief within the community is just so much, and this is the very first time that we had this kind of feeling within our community. It brought us together, but there's so much sorrow around us at the moment. There's a baby involved, so I think that's where the sorrow is really rooted in at the moment.
They are profoundly devastated, and when they come to speak of both Kith and Ralph, they do so with great warmth, with great love and affection, but you can hear in their voices the trembling sense of just utter grief. They're just heartbroken.
£70,000 has been raised to repatriate Kith, Ralph and Kate. This is a tragedy that has touched so many here in Northern Ireland. Aldrin says the Filipino community has been overwhelmed with the kindness and generosity of local people.
I'm here in behalf of the Filipino community as well to really thank the local community, because now we're stronger as ever, because things like this, when they happen, we know the local community got our backs, so it's very touching, it's very uplifting to know that the community has gathered around us for this one. And thank you so much, thank you.
The vigil will be held in the grounds of St Vincent de Paul Church in North Belfast here on Sunday evening to remember Kith, Ralph and baby Kate. Their funerals will take place on Wednesday, and then in the saddest of journeys, their bodies will be brought back to the Philippines. Catherine Morrison, BBC Newsline, North Belfast.
A woman told a court today that she felt hunted like prey by her grammar school teacher who was on trial for indecent assault. The allegations date back to the 1970s when William Lloyd Lavery was a history teacher at what was Richmond Lodge School in South Belfast. He denies the 11 charges he's facing. Again this evening there may be details from this case that some find upsetting. Ita Dungan reports.
It is the third day of the trial of 77-year-old William Lloyd Lavery. In court today, one woman who was 13 at the time of the alleged assault described how the teacher had escorted her around the school to look for a history book. She said Mr. Lloyd Lavery had told her that he had lost a book and that she was going to help him find it. She said she felt obliged to go with him. She said in a library in a small study room, he told her to stand on a chair to search for a book. She said when she turned around, he was blatantly and obviously looking up her skirt. She said he then took her to a small stationery cupboard and sexually assaulted her. He told her as there was no chair to stand on, he would have to lift her up. She said he lifted me like a vice grip around my thighs, and when he lowered me down through his arms, my skirt went up. He was holding me with his left hand, she said, and he put his right hand on my underwear and then pushed his fingers inside and touched my genitals. The woman said she told her mother what happened. The next day, her parents went to the school and told a member of staff. She said that as far as she was aware, nothing happened. During cross-examination, the woman was asked by a senior defence counsel if the assault had actually happened. In response, the woman said, "I was hunted like prey through my own school by a male teacher for his own sexual gratification. I was assaulted and he betrayed me." The senior counsel went on to dispute whether or not Mr. Lloyd Lavery had actually taught the woman. The woman said she had. The prosecution then produced a school report that she said had been signed by the teacher. Ita Dungan, BBC Newsline at Belfast Crown Court.
More time has been given to investigators to question a 33-year-old man about the murder of Wayne Reid in Coleraine. The 43-year-old, who was a father of one, was pronounced dead at a house in Society Court on Monday night. Police believe he may have been involved in an altercation of some sort between last Thursday and last Saturday. The backlog in Royal Mail deliveries, which is affecting customers across the northwest, has already been called a crisis. But now, Derry City and Strabane District councillors are demanding a meeting with the company. It's been claimed one letter took 42 days to travel just 8 miles up the road. Others complain of missing hospital appointments. Here's our Northwest reporter, Kieran Turish.
The sorting office at Great James's Street was busy as usual today. Staff believe cutbacks have put them under even greater pressure to try to deliver on time. But the public has noticed lengthy delays.
It's terrible. We got Christmas cards on the 6th of January. I have the loveliest post now, but over Christmas it was kind of crazy, and I don't think we get post every day now.
I just met a friend there and her husband had died way before Christmas, and I sent her a sympathy card. A nice letter. She met her there now. When did she get the card? Yesterday. And I mean, I can't believe it.
Former Foyle MLA Pat Ramsey has been waiting on surgery for several years, but a letter for a recent appointment in relation to his case arrived after the date in question. He says he's been made aware of many others who've actually missed their appointments.
I've been waiting some time on an appointment to plan surgery for my shoulder, waiting quite a number of years. And I got the letter 3 days after the appointment was up. And I had circumstances where so many people are in even worse positions than I am, because they've gotten their letters, missed their appointment, contact the hospital, and they're being told then, but I'm sorry, you're off a list, you didn't show up. So that's causing further distress and harm, and make no mistake about it, Post Office management have failed the system. They've let people down, and they really need to get a grip.
George Hamilton is a farmer outside New Buildings. He says that while many in his sector have embraced electronic communications, there are huge problems with the current postal system for those who use it.
Diabolical, to be quite honest with you. I sold cattle way before Christmas, and it took a month for the cheque to come. I sold cattle just before Christmas this time, and the cheque still hasn't come. And that'll be 4 weeks now, more or less today. And it's hampering cash flow.
There have been countless complaints about the postal service, from missed hospital appointments to Christmas cards arriving well after December the 25th. The council was told this week that a letter was sent from Claudy to Drumahoe, a distance of almost 8 miles, and that took 42 days. For its part, Royal Mail said 90% of post was delivered by Christmas Eve if it was posted on the last recommended dates. Where there were localised delays, it said teams acted quickly to minimise disruption and keep services moving. Kieran Turish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
The idea of banning under-16s from using social media seems to be gathering momentum. It's already happened in Australia, but here, well, there could be a teenager beside you right now scrolling or posting on some of these platforms. But the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has refused to rule out a ban. He says all options are on the table, and the Conservatives have also backed the idea. But would younger users want to turn off their phones? Our correspondent Robbie Meredith has been asking them.
Banning under-16s from social media is being talked about seriously at Westminster, and that's a talking point at schools like Boys Model in Belfast. They're from a generation raised on it.
Ever since I came into this school, I've been using social media the whole way through, to be fair. So 6-7 years probably.
But Lyle says he's now changed his mind on a ban for under-16s.
If I was under 16, I would be annoyed, but coming from somebody who is over 16 and has used social media quite frequently, I would say it's a good idea.
The boys say there are many good things about social media, but potential harms as well.
A lot of social media does push a bunch of beauty standards, which is harmful to different groups of people, and they're looking at it and they're like, oh, I want to meet that standard so people think I'm cool.
Bullying is a huge thing on social media, and it's a lot easier to bully someone through social media than in person. I'd also say that social media is kind of a main source for socialisation for young people. So again, the role models that they're seeing, the messages that they're getting on apps like TikTok, Instagram or Twitter are very negative and harmful.
Australia recently became the first country to bring in a ban for under-16s. Earlier this week, the First Minister said Stormont was watching the impact of that.
For good or for bad, social media does really impact on young people's lives, and in many ways there's positives, but there are so many negatives as well. So I think where countries have went ahead and have moved as Australia have in such a stark way, I think we have to really keep a close eye to that and actually keep it under review.
The social media ban in Australia leaves tech companies that run platforms like X, Instagram, TikTok or Facebook facing big fines if they don't stop under-16s from using them. Carter has cousins in Australia who are under 16.
We're heavily consumed by social media. I didn't really realise it until I had a conversation with them. You know, my cousins get involved with so many sports, they're out every single day, and my auntie was actually saying that she is actually reluctant to give them social media post-16 because she can see the positives that it's having in their lives.
We did ask Stormont's Department of Justice, though, if any ban decided at Westminster would automatically apply here. They haven't yet been able to tell us. Robbie Meredith, BBC Newsline.
The incoming Ulster Unionist leader John Burrows has refused to say if he'll allow Mike Nesbitt to stay on as Health Minister. He was speaking outside his constituency office in Ballymena, where voters have been giving their reaction to what has become an unopposed run in the leadership race. Of course, Mr Burrows was appointed to the Assembly, so has never won an election. Our political reporter Brendan Hughes has this.
Ballymena, the place to be for big shopping centres and apparently Unionist leaders.
This town was once, of course, the heartland of the former DUP leader Ian Paisley. A few streets over from here we have the office of the TUV leader Jim Allister, and pretty soon this man will be the leader of the Ulster Unionist Party.
The rise of John Burrows has been rapid, but not unforeseen, according to this councillor.
John's driven, John's focused. And John also has a good way of dealing with people, speaking to people. He's down to earth. Basically, somebody you could go and have a coffee with, and he would put you at ease.
But is there unease over a leader who hasn't been elected?
If you're an Ulster Unionist voter, Northern Ireland terms, you're more than likely to stay as an Ulster Unionist voter. As for the voters for other parties, etc., do they really care?
What this party leader cares about, though, is Unionist cooperation.
I've chided him somewhat for not speaking out in the protocol, but I think he has the capacity to articulate his position, and I trust that that will be a position that would afford opportunities to maximise cooperation in the interest of the union.
As for voters in Ballymena, what's the verdict on John Burrows?
I don't know him that well. I know he's ex-police.
He's honest, he tells you as it is. There's no back doors, like, you know.
The man's educated and he'll make a good leader, and it's near time the Unionist Party get back on their feet.
For the man himself, some quick-fire questions.
How do you feel about being the leader without a single vote to your name?
Look, I'm excited to be the leader. There's a job to be done for the people of Northern Ireland, and we're going to get it done working together. But I'll deal with all those issues next week. For today, I'm focused on constituency work, and I'm now heading up to the north of my constituency to help some constituents there.
And it seems you have the grassroots behind you, but do you have the parliamentary party, the MLAs behind you to be leader?
Well, we need to work across the divide in Northern Ireland. That means working within your own party. So we have a job to do. We're committed to doing it, and I'm looking forward to the challenge that lies ahead.
And what about Mike Nesbitt? Is he going to stay as Health Minister?
I don't discuss those sort of things in the media. We'll chat with colleagues first. I've got to get on now. Thank you.
John Burrows is an MLA in a hurry, but his many battles ahead will take time to resolve. Brendan Hughes, BBC Newsline, Ballymena.
Now, it's not a spoiler to say Newry's Rachel Duffy is a traitor and so is playing a central role in what is shaping up to be one of the most exciting series of the BBC show to date. Back here at home, her colleagues, family and friends are glued, perhaps even more closely than the rest of us. And all of them are enjoying her success. Here is a warning. If you're not quite up to date on the series, there are spoilers in this report from Mark Simpson.
All eyes are on Rachel as she enters the final stages of The Traitors. Certainly here in Newry anyway. At this jeweller's on Hill Street, they can't wait for the next episode.
Every day as soon as we come in, it's all we talk about is Traitors. So to have one of our own, to have Rachel here from Newry featured in this series it's so exciting.
Gemma knows Rachel. She is well known in Newry. And this week on social media, Rachel thanked everyone for their support.
I am so proud of where I'm from. I really, really am. And the local people in Newry and County Down and, even further afield are hilarious. If I get one more roar out the window, "You big traitor," it's just making me laugh.
Jade, I was thinking about you.
Yeah.
There's local interest also in Matthew Hindman. He now lives in Scotland, but he went to school in Macrafelt. Matthew is a faithful. Rachel from Newry is a traitor, and that means she's been more high profile. Here in the centre of Newry, the local hero is the goalkeeper Pat Jennings. Rachel doesn't have that legendary status, but everybody's talking about her.
Team Rachel all the way.
Do you think she's going to win?
Definitely. Yeah, she's playing a blinder.
I do prefer Rachel over any of the other contestants. I think she's definitely done the most to kind of win the show.
She's a very humble person, the show shows what she's like in person. What you see is what you get.
She's doing fantastic, so she is. If she keeps her cool, I reckon she can take it.
Win the money?
Win the money. Bring it back to Newry, boy.
If she does win, it would be quite an achievement for Newry. OK, this is going too far, but never underestimate one of the traitors. Mark Simpson, BBC Newsline in Newry.
Not sure if they had a whip round in Newry. I'm sure they'd get it sorted. Let's turn to sport. And after an incredible season in the NFL, one of the great sports stories of recent months, Charlie Smith is back home. Nicola McCarthy is here. And you got the exclusive.
Yes, absolutely. Just home, as you say, Declan, we've got him first. And as you also say, an incredible success story. Good evening, everyone. He had quite a remarkable debut season, but the New Orleans Saints kicker Charlie Smith says he doesn't believe he has made it despite becoming an NFL starter. The 24-year-old from Mayo Bridge made 12 field goals in 16 attempts, but he knows he will need to do even better next season. Speaking on the BBC's GAA Social podcast in his first interview since coming home, Smith has also spoken about the online abuse his fellow kicker Jude Magatamne received, the very high standards NFL kickers are held to, and how he wants to relish more moments where he is awarded the match ball for his crucial kicks.
But you know what the last one's all about, Charlie. Here we go.
I was mad. I ended up getting 3 of them in 6 games. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it. I was just thinking, what? This is nuts. This is normal. But look, the boys been brilliant. And even just watching back the clips of after the game winner against Carolina, and then the boys just Charlie, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like. I feel like maybe in 15 years down the line, I'm going to look back at that clip and say, look, those were good times, like, you know.
And the Irish-born kicker with the division on the line for Carroll.
I don't feel like people at home really understand the standards of, like, if I want to keep my job, if I want to be an NFL kicker for as long as my right leg allows me to be, there's a standard where you need to be, you know, 85 to 90%, or you need to be really, really good in moments. And the one thing I will say I'm very proud of is I was really good in moments and where it was needed. Like, I didn't miss a kick in the fourth quarter, second half. You know, whenever it was needed, that's whenever I produced my best. You know, there's a standard where it's, you know, I think I went 12 for 16, you know, officially on the stats, and that's not going to cut it long term. But then there's a standard, like, just go out and make the kick, whatever distance it is, and that's what's going to keep you in, is just get, you know, staying as driven as I feel like I'm pretty driven.
But the serious point, when we watched Jude McAtamney,
yeah,
and I would know Jude, and like it's been wonderful to see him do so well, and then all of a sudden misses 2 pats, and then effectively they sack him. What he endured online.
I deleted Twitter over what the level of abuse that he was getting.
Really?
I did, yeah. It was nuts. It wasn't nice, like, because then you put yourself in his shoes. You know, I missed that kick against Carolina, and you know, maybe I'm not sitting here right now. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way, the nature of the sport.
Are you happy?
No, I am. One of the things I most love about it is, like, who you're getting to represent. And I take it in my notes before every game. I'm getting to represent Mayo Bridge, first of all, and then underneath that, I'll write, I'm getting to represent the people of Down and sort of the Newry area, and then Ireland. That's what I'm really grateful about, is how much support I've gotten doing this, you know.
Yeah, you're feeling the love. You're feeling
the
love.
I am. It's been unbelievable.
Fascinating stuff, and you can hear the whole hour of that exclusive interview on the GAA social, on BBC Sounds, and also on the BBC Northern Ireland YouTube page. Now to golf, and Rory McIlroy didn't have the best of second days at the Dubai Invitational. The world number 2 from Hollywood lost his overnight lead after a 3-over par round of 74. He goes into the weekend 3 shots off the lead. That is joint held tonight by Shane Lowry, who mastered tricky, windy conditions to go to 5 under.
It was hard. It was tricky. It was, you know, like that putt in the last hole. You don't have to hold a lot of putts like that today. And I did well. I did a good job. I had a couple of sloppy mistakes in the front 9, but I was playing good and giving myself chances, and just had a great day out there. I really enjoyed it. You know, I had a great group, two great amateurs, and yeah, it was you know, playing golf in a good frame of mind makes it a little bit easier. And if that's sort of a little lesson for me for the rest of the season, I think you know, if I play golf like that for the rest of the season and in that frame of mind, I'll be pretty good.
Snooker, and Mark Allen is out of the Masters at Alexandra Palace in London. The Antrim man lost his quarter-final against world number 1 Judd Trump by 6 frames to 2 last night. In a scrappy match, the Englishman reeled off 4 consecutive frames to clinch the win. Now, Rugby and Ulster have named a strong-looking side for tomorrow's European Challenge Cup home match against Stade Francais. Jacob Stockdale returns to the starting 15 after a rib injury for a game where a win would secure a home tie in the last 16 of the competition. And after a good start to this season, Ulster are relishing the challenge the French Giants will pose.
There's a really good buzz within the changing room. Lads are working really hard, and ultimately I think you're seeing the results of that. So we're only this part of the season, like, we want to keep getting better. We can't waste a week, you know. That's where our mindset's at. So come the end of the year, that we're even better than we are now. You know what we want to deliver? We want to be intense, fast and physical. They're the things that we're going in with the weekend. You know, we're back at home, we're confident, we're playing a big French side to get top of our group. So we've a lot on the line and we're really looking forward to it.
Football, and in the Irish Premiership, Larne are 10 points clear at the top of the table heading into the weekend. Tonight, in a game you can watch live on the BBC iPlayer and on our sport website, they travel to Windsor Park to take on the reigning champions Linfield, who start the game 16 points behind their visitors.
We go there and we know it's going to be really, really difficult. Windsor Park's
big pitch in Ali, do you mean? And they've got a lot of experience. A lot's been made in Ali, do you mean, of their results this year, because the expectation is so huge at Linfield Football Club. They're the benchmark and out for everybody to aspire to get to.
And we look forward to it. Lorne have been in terrific form, and all credit to Gary and the players. But any time that we've played Lorne over the previous campaigns, previous seasons, it's always been a tough game. We expect probably more of the same on Friday night.
And finally, the Belfast Giants are in action shortly at the SSE Arena against the Sheffield Steelers in the first of 2 back-to-back games. The Giants start the weekend second in the table, just 3 points behind league leaders Nottingham, and are looking to close that gap. Another busy weekend of sport. Declan.
Nicola, thank you. Have a good weekend. A rainbow framing Scrabo Tower. We think this is probably viewed from Newtonard, but Carol B, our weather watcher, is from Clinchy, further down the coast. Thank you for capturing the moment and sending it in. Kind of a few showers in several places today, is that right?
Yep, hence the rainbow, and we'll see some more showers this weekend and a few more rainbows as well, but not everywhere. So depending on where you were today depended on how many showers you saw. Most of them were in the east. But this is how it started in Belfast this morning. This is a stunning shot. Fog in the loch, the cranes are poking out the top, but those shower clouds on the horizon, and most of the showers today were across County Down, some of them pretty heavy too, and they will be on and off tonight. Some of them will be heavy. They will affect Belfast, they will affect East Antrim, and some of them could be quite persistent as well. So in some of these eastern areas it will be quite wet tonight, but relatively mild, whereas further west, where showers will be few and far between, potentially a touch of frost, fog and ice. So a bit of a mixed bag depending on where you are. The shower story will continue tomorrow, particularly across the east. Antrim down, Belfast again. Some of them could be quite heavy and quite prolonged, but hopefully a few sunny gaps in between them as well, especially in the afternoon. Further west, a lot of dry weather, some mist and low cloud to start with, but brightening up at times too, and temperatures not too dissimilar to today. Now, whilst we have these south or southeasterly winds, the showers continue to feed in from the Irish Sea, mainly across the east, maybe 1 or 2 arcing a little bit further west. And again, it's in the west where there's more chance of seeing a little bit of frost, whereas in Belfast it will be relatively mild. Still that strip of showers up the eastern side on Sunday, but a lot of places will be dry across the island of Ireland with some sunshine, and I think even in the east the showers will be fewer too. So there's rain in the west now trying to come in off the Atlantic on Sunday night, and we've got a bit of a battle going on next week. We've got a big area of high pressure over Scandinavia and Eastern Europe, low pressure in the Atlantic, and these weather fronts are trying to come in, but the high is a blocking high, and it's basically stopping these weather fronts from getting too far east. Unfortunately, at the moment, it looks like they land on the island of Ireland, and for Northern Ireland, that means quite cloudy, quite damp next week.
That's a great last picture as well. Cecilia, thank you very much. That's Friday's BBC Newsline. Something for the weekend or news podcast, The State of Us returns. You'll find it on BBC Sounds and the BBC News NI YouTube channel. We're back here on BBC One at 10:30 to update you. But from Cecilia, myself and the rest of the team, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.